no matter how much people are advocating for Union of Africa, this is not the first time. This goal started all the way from 1963, where the OAU was formed, and then afterwards, we see the coming of African Union in 2002. But until now, we have seen little progress when it comes to the unification of Africa. What might be the problem? So today, allow me just to tackle a few of the problems. In fact, maybe let me start with one, because I've said I don't want to stay long. So what I just want to do is to prompt you and think about it and what may be the solution, because I know whosoever is viewing this video has some interest in African development or African unity or African politics. Now, one of the reasons why Africa is not going to unite anytime soon, before I say that, let me just give you a hint of how we have people like PLO Lumumba. He inspires me. He has this kind of, realistic dream about Africa uniting and everything. But there was a time I took a look into it and I was like, this guy, the way he's advocating for the unification of Africa, chances are very high, and even not high, but the truth is, he is likely to die and see not it happening. Even I myself, as I'm talking here, I don't think I'm going to live to see Africa uniting. Right? It's going to take long. And one of the reasons is, as African countries, we have different economic levels. So now, for example, let me just give you the example. We have Zimbabwe and Kenya. If you check our economic performances, they are completely different. Okay, let me not even talk about Zimbabwe and Kenya, because Zimbabwe is very much miles away from Kenya. Let me talk about Uganda and Kenya. If you check the GDP of Uganda and the GDP of Kenya, and the economic development indicators or success indicators, you find out that Kenya is by far from Uganda. But now, then we talk about let's open borders and let everyone move in and out in any African countries as they want. What do you think is going to happen to Ugandans, and what do you think is going to happen to Kenya or to Kenyans? Definitely the truth is, every other poor countries or underdeveloped countries or developing countries will flood the developed countries or the better, fast-paced developing countries. And this will cause imbalance, and it will actually result in some drama. For example, we've seen this happening in Zimbabwe, xenophobia. Yes, it's inhumane and that is not accepted, but sometimes it's not avoidable, because this is your economy. You're already not satisfied with what is happening. Then people start flooding. And remember, this flooding is happening not because it's official. The borders are not officially opened, but people are doing it unofficially. Then now, for example, again, let's say South Africa opens borders, no visa, free entry and free exit. Okay, and let me put a disclaimer. I'm not saying Zimbabweans need a visa to go to South Africa. You can go and come back, but you can be given 7 days or 14 days or 21 days before you exit the border back to your country. But of course, people, they overstay there. But now let's say they've said everyone can just come in and stay however you want. Definitely, South Africa is going to host 2 countries, not only 2 countries, because I've seen personally, also Malawians come there, Nigerians also go there. Every country, each and every person is looking for greener pastures. So because of our different economic levels, you are going to find that this is not going to be easy for countries to open their borders just like that. So it's going to slow down the unity of Africa. And no matter how much we're advocating for it, let's also be realistic. Governments, they have their interest, and for the sake of their people, they can take this process slow. No wonder why you're finding out that from 1963, we are still here and there's no much progress. Okay, a disclaimer, I withdraw my words. There is some progress, but not to expect it to be fully happening in the next 10 years, in the next 20, in the next 40 years. This is going to take long, because there is a lot of skepticism and there's a lot of resistance among the citizens themselves. Yes, the heads of state might will to do so, but they know very well their people may not allow them to do so. So let us be real, and let us just do the little we can do, or the more we can do, to see Africa uniting. But let's not forget that there are some factors that we cannot control that will not allow Africa to unite. So until we meet again next time on the next reason why Africa will not unite, it's a goodbye.